aka Diz, and this is the Force always.
Okay, so welcome to the show. Let's get on with the Star Wars news. Later on in the show, I'll be giving you some more information about The Mandalorian Season 2. Just some information, so stick around for that later on in the show in the interviews section. Anyway, let's get on with the actual Star Wars news. And just a bit of an update here in Melbourne, Australia. We are still in extreme lockdown, and it's been a bit of a hard time here. But anyway, let's get into the Star Wars news. Around the internet, there's been a bit of a fun way of looking at the Star Wars titles to the actual Star Wars movies from episode 1 to episode 9. Just look up, Google if you can, Star Wars titles rearranged or something like that. It sort of gives an interesting look, feel, and to the whole movie itself. Like they would put The Rise of Skywalker with actual episode 1 and the sense that it sort of makes, and it's interesting, but it's sort of around the internet at the moment. That's pretty much what's making a bit of the news. But more Star Wars news. The Mandalorian Season 2 will have a trailer coming soon, but that will be a sort of later in the show. I'll tell you when exactly I think it's going to happen. Again, I said I think, I don't know, I think, but that's later in the show. So anyway, that's pretty much the Star Wars news for this time around. Let's get on with the views. Views is my story ideas, rather than predictions or things like that, or YouTube counts or anything like that. Just my views on how the story could be told from my perspective, as Mandalorian Season 2 is fastly approaching. Should we go back to Tatooine is a question, and sort of my sort of story idea. And I think, yes, we need to go back to Tatooine. It was sort of a bit of a not greatly liked episode by a lot of hardcore Star Wars fans because it was a bit too nostalgic. But especially we've got Boba Fett coming back into the picture, or Boba Fett, how you like to pronounce it, it's up to you. But really, he essentially, the last time we saw him was on Tatooine. I think he would have been stranded there. I think the story coming from that starting point would, make a lot of sense. And, for me, the whole nostalgic thing, especially Tatooine, is not a bad thing, but to a lot of people out there, it is not the best. But anyway, should we go back to Tatooine? Yes, and it makes sense to the story of starting with Boba Fett, and people who don't know who he is will get to know his origins and stuff like that. It's sort of a story idea, but it's a beginning of where you should start the story, and I'm saying definitely from Tatooine. Anyway, that's my views for this time around. Let's get into the reviews. Reviews are sort of an unusual one this week because Disney Plus announced, I think the American side of Disney Plus announced Mulan the movie. Mulan the movie is actually going to go to Disney Plus. You can pay $30 American for that to see. I think it's coming out later this month. I think my review is look, there's two parts to this. It's a great upside for us consumers and viewers. We get to see something that's brand new, something that's great, in our comfort of a home, home on a couch or whatever you like to say. But the big downside is that the people who are created this had a real big vision, which is the, theatre itself. And if I was a director or, a creator of any particular movie, I would really want to see my thing, my movie, my story on the big screen. But so that's a big downside. I think the creators and the cast would feel a bit sort of let down by that. So really my review is, it's 5 out of 10. So I think it's hopefully it's not the things to come. Hopefully we can go back to the theatres sooner than later. If not, we may have to start getting used to the devices that we have in our own home. But it's a 5 out of 10. for Mulan itself going to streaming Disney Plus later on. It hasn't been announced here for Australia as yet. If you're going to pay $30 American, we'll be paying about 50 Australian just to see it, the one-off view. That's what I think. I don't know. It's just my thoughts, especially with the Australian dollar and the American dollar. We've got very bad return. Anyway, that's my reviews for this time around. Let's get into the interviews. Interviews is 2 questions we'll ask myself for you guys out there. And this time around, the first question is, when should we expect the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer? It's been said at the end of this month, about the 28th of August. I'm thinking that it's going to be early September. That's what I think is going to happen, early September, rather than later than this month. I think because if you're going to have Mulan coming out, then it will just sort of conflict a little, unless they use it as a piece of advertising within the actual movie itself, whether it's at the start, during, or after. Disney Plus doesn't really advertise during their shows, as far as I know. Here in Australia, we don't get that. But they may do that. It could be an interesting idea to do it that way. It may sort of serve a good purpose, but I think it's going to be early next month, so it doesn't sort of have too much information in the one shot. But anyway, that's my first question. And then my second question is what to expect in the trailer for The Mandalorian coming to Disney Plus. I think we should expect that it needs to be, in my perspective, the same look, the same feel as Season 1, just with different story component ideas. I think that to have the technology sort of excel in this one compared to the last would make the last look a bit less and this one a bit higher. I think personally, just, sort of, introduce interesting character concepts or interesting story concept ideas in the trailer, ended off with something that we all maybe know that's sort of like a bit surprising. That's how a usual a trailer is remembered, by its last point. But I think I'd like it to be original. I would like it to be just all the character concepts, ideas that they're going to introduce and maybe reintroduce, as we sort of know some of them, like we know Boba Fett's coming back. Maybe splash him in here, not too much, but just a little, and just some other ideas that we have no idea. That's what I would like to see in the actual trailer itself, just to be original. I think it will satisfy the hardcore Star Wars fans, which I think that's the core audience here. And if you get too nostalgic too quick, it will just diminish really quickly, I think. But anyway, that's what I thought. That's my second question. Anyway, this is a weekly Star Wars show. Unless the world is invaded by aliens. I don't know, at the moment I feel like if we're invaded by aliens, it'd be a refreshing idea with this whole COVID-19 thing, not to bring light on people of having COVID-19, but it's, as we all know, it's a strange time. But anyway, so this is a weekly show. Subscribe to The Force Awakens. There's my details down here. That's the Twitter account I've got, Instagram account. Send me a message by YouTube if you'd like. Until next time, keep rocking.